Brass Band.
I seem to be without a band, but that's because we have a really special treat for you tonight. And I think some of you might have read it in the paper, but maybe not. But this is a really cool book. I got it for Christmas. I went out immediately and got one from Stan. And I went so far as to write a review for it for Amazon. It's written by Scott Alaric. It's called Revival, a folk music novel. And for those of us who never got over the 60s, it's you know, what I wrote to Stan and when I gave him this copy was, we were there. And boy, this is such a great book. It's a novel set in the whole world of folk music. And, you know, Scott Alaric is a guy who I was really pleasantly delighted to read this book because I've mostly read his reviews. He's a reviewer, a folk music writer, written about the subject extensively for the Boston Globe and for Sing Out magazine, among countless others. He's also a very good performer and player and singer. Terrific couple of albums that I've heard. And so our special guest tonight is that Scott Alaric is here, and he is going to read to you a little bit of Revival. So you're in for a super treat. Here is my friend, I'm happy to say, my friend Scott Alaric.
Thank you, and thank you, Daisy. Yeah, it's Revival is, I figured, as far as I know, there's never been a novel that's entirely set in the folk world. There's, you know, important scenes at coffee houses like this and house concerts. And the main character, Nathan Warren, is an open mic host and hosts a folk jam and is also a very good musician. And the woman he falls in love with is somebody who grew up playing Scottish fiddle and is a kid in Scottish fiddle contest. Because I really wanted to show how folk music lives in the 21st century and how it exists. And I think places like this are really the heartbeat of this music. And you know, it's great that we still have big folk stars and that we can fill up big concert halls, but this is what's keeping the music alive. So I wanted to set it here. So let me do. This happens fairly early in the book. Nathan Warren, the main character, is going back to check out Kit Palmer, this young songwriter. This is really before they've fallen in love, but they're very drawn to each other by their shared interest in the music. And it's at the folk jam, and he goes back to check her out. And it shows one of the things that I think people like about Nathan is that whatever Nathan thinks he's doing, whatever Nathan thinks he's thinking about, he's always kind of thinking about the music. And I'm sure we all know people like that. Let me put on my author glasses here. I just wear these for effect. The effect is to see. Kit sat with a half-dozen jammers at a small table by the far end of the room. They had finished a tune and were laughing and talking in the time-honored way of the jam. Applause is considered bad form because it suggests a performance atmosphere. So after a tune, there's a period of idle chatter, sipping beers, laughing and shuffling chairs, until somebody begins another tune. There is an unspoken order to all this, but nobody really knows what it is. It's simply the way it's always been since the first caveman noticed his neighbor beating on a rock, wandered over and said, "Hey, I got a stick too." A young guitarist in a faded Boston Celtics jersey, neatly trimmed beard stubble and Martin guitar baseball cap, suddenly began to sing a traditional cowboy song, Colorado Trail. Nathan walked closer, putting a finger over his lips when a few people started to say hi. He wanted to listen. Weep all ye falling rains, wail winds wail, all along, along, along the Colorado Trail. You could almost hear the slow padding of horses and cattle in the easy gait of the song. It vaguely tells a story about a pretty girl named Laura, whom the cowboy loves and misses. But the song never explains who she is, or what's happened to her. She's simply gone away. As a young man, that drove Nathan crazy. He tried to learn the song a few times, but without knowing what happened to Laura, or even what her relationship was to the cowboy, he didn't know how to approach it. Now he thought those omissions were brilliant, because the song really isn't about Laura, or even the lovelorn cowboy. It's simply about being alone in a lonely place and wishing that you weren't. Nathan certainly knew what that felt like. Bobbing his head lightly to the beat, Nathan closed his eyes and wondered what it was about sad songs that appealed to us so much. Do we like being sad? Even the up-tempo songs at the Jam were usually about train wrecks, dead mothers, ghastly murders, and ghostly lovers walking these hills in long black veils. Maybe it's like those actors who say they prefer playing villains because they're more interesting. Our dark feelings have more complex palettes, at least in art they do. But Nathan had learned that form usually follows function in traditional music. Perhaps our unhappy feelings are more in need of examining than our happy ones. Who needs to solve happiness? We need to understand the dark sides of life. That's where the dangers are. Why else would cowboys have sung all those sad love songs? It was the one time they could display their inner selves, explore their feelings, and share them with friends. And those deeper feelings need attention, even on a cattle drive. Leave them alone too long, unexamined and unexpressed, and they fester like an untreated wound. Maybe that's why Colorado Trail leads us away from the particulars about Laura and the cowboy. Laura becomes everybody's absent love, and the cowboy's loneliness becomes everybody's loneliness. And doesn't the simple act of sharing that in a song make us a little less lonely?